Wholeness and love. Welcome to today's video on mindfulness and trauma. Trauma can show up in our life in various ways, from accidents to abuse or even negligence. But the experiences of trauma, although they can have a great impact on us, do not have to define us. Mindfulness practices can help us regain control over ourselves and help to shine new light on these experiences so that we can learn, grow, and move forward. Please note that talking about trauma can be triggering, so I invite you to become curious and aware of what feelings and thoughts arise within you throughout this time. In today's video, we will further define what trauma is, the term ACEs, as well as how trauma affects the body, mind, and heart, and simple practices that we can engage in to help heal from traumatic experience. To begin, let's define trauma. Trauma is a series of events that induces a tremendous amount of stress on the body, mind, and heart. This is an overwhelming amount of stress for your body and your entire system. It's similar to eating your entire week or 2 weeks of calories in one day. There are various forms of trauma. It can be complex, with series of events occurring in a short period of time. There's also intergenerational trauma, in which trauma that has occurred in older individuals can even be passed down to future generations. There's also developmental trauma. This occurs at key growth stages of life, which leads to the term ACEs. ACEs are adverse childhood experiences. These are experiences that may lead to physical, emotional, or mental abuse, negligence, or living in a household that's dysfunctional or with other people who have been exposed to trauma, experienced trauma, or even addiction themselves. We have all experienced some form of trauma, whether big or small, and so it's really important to understand how trauma affects the body, mind, and heart. Traumatic events can create a disconnect between the body and the mind. Essentially, during that event, the body was not able to protect you or keep you safe. Because of this disconnect, we often see traumatic experience show up as somatic symptoms. That means that they're physical symptoms within your body. There are a number of physical symptoms of trauma that can show up as restlessness, body aches and pains, numbness, also heart racing, high blood pressure, and even difficulty sleeping. Trauma can also show up in our mental and emotional bodies. Feelings of fear, of anger and resentment, even withdrawal and depression are all signs of some type of traumatic response. Any one of these physical, mental, or emotional symptoms can really make it difficult to feel productive throughout the day, to maintain focus, to feel safe, and to build connection with others. Mindfulness and somatic practices can help alleviate these symptoms and start to help us heal from these traumatic experiences. Mindfulness encourages us to stay in the present moment. We become more aware and open to observe. If we're in situations that begin to trigger uncomfortable feelings or thoughts or even old stories or patterns, through the practice of mindfulness, we become more of the observer of those thoughts and feelings rather than latching onto them or that narrative, and we can stay more in the present moment because of that. By noticing and using our mindful awareness, we're able to observe these thoughts, feelings, and sensations without reliving the experience itself. It allows us to create space between the thought, space between the discomfort. When we do this, we're then able to just observe and allow ourselves and our nervous system to then move from fight or flight into rest and digest mode. Along with mindfulness practices and observation, any type of movement in the body, including Tai Chi, yoga, stretching, playing sports or games, help us to alleviate somatic symptoms, physical symptoms within the body related to the trauma, as well as develop a more loving and kind relationship to the body itself. These practices begin to build a new awareness around the body, mind, and heart. They allow us to feel safe and secure within ourselves, and they also allow us to develop a more loving and relationship to our entire being. As we continue to practice our mindfulness techniques, somatic and other contemplative practices, we're then able to become more of the observer. We create space, and this allows us to be more in the present. If a thought brings us away, or if an uncomfortable emotion arises in a situation, we're able to observe, but then redirect the focus to the present, to whatever activity you're involved in or the person that you're engaged with. And this allows us to stay more in the moment. It allows us to be more in control, and it allows us to move through our day with greater feelings of ease and peace. To recap, trauma can occur in big and small ways. Often, when we think of trauma, we think of extended periods of abuse or neglect, but even simply falling or having an accident, hurting your wrist, or spraining your ankle can create a trauma response within the body, mind, and heart. Trauma also shows up in somatic ways. There's a lot of physical symptoms that arise due to a traumatic event. Therefore, mindfulness and movement practices are really key in helping to create balance and begin healing from that experience. And remember, mindfulness is a skill that grows with practice. The more that we bring our attention and awareness into the present and allow ourselves to become the observer, noticing our thoughts, feelings, anything that arises within the body and the heart, we're able to regain control of ourselves. We're able to become more curious to a sensation, and we're also able to then be more present, aware, and calm. Continue to be mindful and notice. Each day is different, but our mindfulness practice allows us to stay present, to become more aware, and really to reconnect with ourselves. When we feel connected to ourselves, we then are able to perceive the world around us in a new light. We're able to connect with others. We're able to move beyond some of the stories and narratives that we've lived by, and we're able to be more present, aware, and at peace. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.